Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how the biggest whale on BITMEX just dumped all their coins. No, I'm just kidding. He just called the bottom for Bitcoin. So let's get right into this. What exciting times to be part of the cryptocurrency community and trading these coins, as we have gotten the beginnings of a right shoulder here. And we do have some really exciting kind of news slash hype because of Twitter. One of the whales called out to all the baby whales, if you want to put it that way, and said that the bottom for Bitcoin is in. So obviously this isn't guaranteed, but this guy is a freaking genius. He's been able to produce over 3,100 Bitcoin trading on BITMEX. This is a screenshot of when he was on the leaderboard. He's since made his name completely invisible on the leaderboard. But as you guys can see, Angelo BTC, and he is right here on Twitter shouting him out. If you guys want to go ahead and follow him there, you can. So we've got some really exciting stuff to talk about today as far as that goes. We'll see kind of how all of this plays out. I'm really hyped to share my perspective on it. But before we do that, let's get directly into the market overview. Total market capitalization right here on coinsignals.trade. If you want to chart this and you don't know where the hell everybody is doing it, that's where they are doing it, you guys. Coinsignals.trade. We've had this kind of chart for a long time now. We've been following it. It's continued to project this price, and we've just kept kind of painting these support and resistance levels. What we're kind of looking for right here, this is more of a neutral. It's support. It's arguably support right now. You could make this green, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it yellow until it gets significantly above it. It's kind of in a neutral zone, but either way, this is looking really good on the short term for the bulls, as we did go ahead and get that curl. Remember in the previous podcast how I was talking about how you want to wait for it to make a higher high and then a higher low, and then you could be interested in looking at that because it's forming some structure for a trend. Well, that's exactly what's happening here, you guys. We're forming some structure for a trend. If we zoom in a little bit on the smaller time frames, well, we're not switching time frames. I like the 4-hour best either way. We do have kind of a little bit of a low pattern right here, higher pattern right here, low pattern right here. So we're just kind of waiting to see if we can make some resolution in the short-term trend. If we can get a new high right here, that's going to look really good, especially if we get above this area that we made that triangle pattern and then had this sell-off that brought us down to that support level that we so beautifully bounced right off of. This is just one of those scenarios where obviously it's still in either person hand, you know? Like when you're a trader, you have to surrender to the market. You want to have positions, so that means it's impossible not to be somewhat biased according to like where your target is and where your stop loss is. And so knowing that, you want to plan your trade before you take the position so that you're clear-headed, because when you're in a trade, you're intoxicated by that trade. Always remember that. If you're in a trade, you're intoxicated by the market. Basically, what's happening right here is we could go either way, but your job as a trader is to react to these things based on plans that you made, not react to the market as it happens based on emotions that you're feeling. You want to set aside your plans, understand your technical analysis, be like, if this support level fails, I'm going to take this much off the table, reduce my exposure to the market, or if I hit this level, I'm going to take back into the dollar because I made that much profit, or here's where I'm setting my stops, or here's the levels that I'm accumulating at, here's the levels that I'm averaging out at. You just have to have these plans in place before the market makes its moves. Otherwise, you're going to fail. So what you really, really want to do is be open-minded to both directions, make plans based on both directions, think based on risk management, and then watch for primary outcomes and alternative outcomes. So right now, our primary outcome is that we go for 240 billion in the total market cap. I've talked about this multiple times. I'm still holding true to that, but we do have a secondary outcome. Now, what would that look like for the secondary outcome? Well, I have this little line drawn right here. It's not going to look exactly like that. But if there's a failure of support at the $197 billion levels, then yeah, we're going to drop to 176 pretty quickly and possibly further, in my opinion. Now, you guys, if you remember in this triangle, I was like, if we break above the 223, we're going to break out. And if we fall below 216, we're going to dump. We fell below 216, we dumped. So that was an example of me showing two trading plans. The market, I surrendering myself to the market, but thinking like a professional trader and thinking based on risk management and allowing the market to do whatever the hell it wants to, but for me to react based on my trading plans and not based on emotion, to play it and profit off of these moves and know how to really get the money out of this market that most people just cannot figure out how to do. So that is what your job is, and this is looking really good for the bulls in the short term. I'm excited about it. Now, on coinmarketcap.com, if we scroll down right here and we look to see what our top mover is going to be 0x. Nothing else is up any more than 10%, which is Tezos. And for the most part, we're in a 1 to 5% range, up or down across the top 100 coins. If we want to get into the way that this coin is looking right now, you guys, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. We have this big liquidity zone where 0x has been accumulated throughout all of 2018. It's made a few trading patterns along the way. This is one of those things where you have falling prices and falling volume and a momentum squeeze. You also have the pattern that is starting to look like it is squeezed so far down into this point that it can't really go much further before it either just dies completely and is a dead project or breaks out. And right now the momentum is definitely in the strength of the bulls. As far as that momentum squeeze, we got a bull break out of that momentum squeeze. Like I said, this is a huge liquidity zone for people that are accumulating this coin. The volume is picking up. Now, this is arguably not broken out because support and resistance is kind of a zone. So if you kind of go like that and you're like, well, there was this wick right here that went really high right here, and this wick went really high right here. And then you could be like, yeah, so this is not broke out yet. Maybe you want to be really cautious and play it like that. And then don't take huge buying actions until you get above both of those lines. Either way, you guys, this coin definitely is showing bullish momentum on the upside. Now, there is the potential this could be forming a bear flag for the bearish perspective, as we were just saying, keeping your trading plans in line. So if we start to make a lower low right here below the 69-cent level and then drop below the 59-cent level, then that bear flag pattern would have started to play out, and we're likely to see some type of a retest of this lower liquidity zone, or maybe we fall to doom and never come back up again. There's lots of outcomes, so you just want to reduce your risk to the market there. But that's kind of my thoughts on the top mover for the day. So let's get into this excitement with Angelo BTC on Twitter. This guy is an absolute savage, you guys. Like, he's just such a genius, and I really look up to him. Like I was saying, he's been able to produce over 3,100 Bitcoin on BITMEX. That is probably way higher by now. He changed his name to Anonymous, so we don't really know if he's the number one on BITMEX currently, the leaderboard, or who is. Either way, we know that he was number one for quite some time. He could be still. This guy gets insane reactions on his Twitter posts. Like, the amount of engagement that he gets for 124,000 followers is unreal. Anyways, it's because he's an absolute savage. Like I was saying, he perfectly called the dip right here at 59. Like, literally, his TA is just on fire. Now, what did he say the other day? He said, last dip ever. This is his way of saying that the bear market is over, you guys. That is a really big statement for somebody like this. And literally, directly after this post was made, the price drastically pumped. Now, there was the tether thing going on at the same time. So there's lots of kind of people are like, well, it could be Tether, it could be Angelo, we don't really know. Either way, there's definitely some serious movement coming to this market. If you look at Bitcoin, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but BTC, I think that you can look on here to get a volume distribution. Let me check on that. Either way, Bitcoin, you guys, had a volume spike that on most exchanges that is exceeding its yearly volume, or at least really since the big drop. So that is exciting for Bitcoin to have this volume spike come into play. It doesn't look as big on the CoinMarketCap chart, but on Binance and a couple of the other exchanges, I think Bitstamp is one of the ones, there's a huge volume spike right here that exceeds what we've seen in a long time. And then we have, just the fact that this looks a lot like the Wall Street cheat sheet. We've retraced 68% based on the index of Bitcoin. So putting all of the Bitcoins together, we've retraced around 68%, which is the .618. That's the golden ratio. On the way down, you have short sellers take short positions at the .618. And then on the way back up, you have buyers buy the .618 and occasionally the 786 or the 88%. If it's really not that liquid, and if it's an immature market like altcoins, almost always retrace to the 88% retracement, whereas Bitcoin is getting more mature, and some other more mature markets will retrace to the .618, kind of depending on where it's at. But as you guys can see on the way down, we always reject off the 618 and the 50% retracement off each swing. 50% right here, 618 right here. So on the way down, that's generally where you see profit taking and short sellers come back in. It's the 618 and the 50%. And then from the bullish perspective, when it comes back down onto the 618 Fibonacci support. Now you guys remember that Fibonacci is a zone. So if it's a little bit below that, it still could be respecting this Fibonacci support level. We don't want to argue that it's not. I mean, it's not ever going to be 100% perfect, but in this area is where bots, algorithms, big banks, and whales start to accumulate because they understand the risk to reward is really good to buy at this area. There's lots of factors for the bullish perspective for Bitcoin. I really am excited for the fact that he said this. Obviously, I'm a technical analyst. I am not telling you guys that anything is guaranteed by these statements. And obviously, none of this is financial advice. Take and do as you will with it. My goal here is to provide perspective, give you knowledge, tools, share my mistakes that I've made, share anything that I've gathered through the journey of all of the crypto trading that I've done, and bring that to you guys and share it with you so that you guys can gain some value out of that. And because of that, obviously, anything is possible. So I don't want you guys to go pull out a loan and be stupid or do anything ridiculous. But I do want you to take this knowledge and make smart, healthy investing decisions on your own accord with it and learn from that. Anyways, from the bearish perspective, we could always look at this as a wick like that, give yourself a little bit more of a zone and just say, okay, well, no, we really actually didn't break out. And you could be like this and be a little bit more picky from the line angle right here. You could be like, well, this was a wick. We haven't fully broken out. We need to close above that, which is actually true on the daily candlesticks. I would like to see a close with a candlestick above this area with a green kind of engulfing candle to confirm the breakout. And then you can go like this, and you can draw a line like that, and you can say, okay, this is more of a descending triangle than a falling wedge, because perspective is everything, you guys. And like I said, surrender yourself to the market. It can do whatever the hell it wants to. The bearish perspective would give us some type of a capitulation event like this, and it would bring us right back up like that. Not quite that high, probably not quite that quickly, but it's gonna bounce really, really hard because that'd be a lot of panic really quickly. The markets would be retracing 50%. A lot of them would lose 50% from where they're at right now in value. So it'd be pretty intense if we see this type of a move. So that means the altcoins would be a bloody ride. Behind that, Now, obviously, you guys, the best thing to do if you have a lot of Bitcoin is to set a stop loss on Bitcoin. I'm not going to give you exact prices on that, but just look up how to set a stop loss on Binance. I made a podcast episode about it so you can better understand stop losses. And then just look up support and resistance and base your stop loss on support and resistance. And that should kind of help you understand what the best thing to do in this scenario. If this inverse head and shoulder pattern plays out, we are all going to make a lot of money on the upside. So I'm really hyped about that. Go ahead and click on these links if you want to follow Angelo on Twitter. He's really amazing. He's a god of TA and I highly respect him. And then click on my Binance if you want to do trading with altcoins. And then we've got the CoinMarketCap chart if you want to look at our analysis for the video. We've got Coinigy if you want to sign up for technical analysis on altcoins. BITMEX for leverage trading on Bitcoin, and then my Bitcoin address. If you like what I'm doing, you can send donations that way, and my VIP course if you want to get more hands-on with your trading. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in the box below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. As always, stay profitable out there.